Welcome back to the Alien Spaceship Talk Show podcast. And in case you're just joining us, you're listening to the Alien Spaceship Talk Show podcast with Emmy, Hikins, and Trevor.
So she was born in 1880, so she would have been 23. And actually, I don't know whether you can see it there, but that is a very thin book. That's her autobiography. It is the most magnetic book. You can't put it down when you start reading it. It's her story of how she dealt with this incredible illness, which, incidentally, some doctors nowadays think it was either meningitis that she had, or it could have been scarlet fever, because that was a very dangerous illness in those days as well. But anyway, Helen wrote that book. And to sort of cut a long story short, in her lifetime, when she died in 1968, so she would have been 88, but she wrote 14 books. She travelled the world lecturing on and speaking up for blind people, blind deaf people, and all those handicaps. And she was a great advocate, raising millions of pounds in America and abroad for those causes. She was a fantastic woman, and as I say, an incredible example of what the human spirit can do. You know, I think sometimes we all have our issues in life, our problems, and you know, we think, oh, I can't be doing that, it's too difficult, or we don't really think we're good enough to do something, or we don't trust ourselves, and we hold back. But I think the truth is, we don't ever really find out what we've got, how we can cope, until and unless we're under pressure. We've got our backs against the wall. I think a lot of people have said, not much good comes out of the comfort zone. You know, we all tend to want to stay in our comfort zones. But what stories like Helen Keller's tells me and tells us, I think, is we've really got to reach out. She, in her talks around the world and in her books, there's not a trace of self-pity, of I've had it tough, whatever. This woman was blind and deaf and dumb, but she learned to speak. Her only regret was that she felt she couldn't speak quite properly, and she felt sorry for the audiences. But I mean, they could understand what she was saying. But what an incredible story of this woman. And I just would advocate it. There's a video, a film, a DVD somewhere, I think I've got it, called The Miracle Worker, which was a stage play, basically, based on her autobiography. And then this video was made, obviously, many years later. And I saw this once, and I saw it a couple of times. It is really excellent to understand what the emotions that she and Anne went through when initially Anne was trying to communicate with Helen. So, yeah, it's a great story, Helen Keller, and I advocate it for anybody who's interested in what can be achieved if we're brave enough, and if we allow the spirit within us to do the best things we can do. So, yeah, what's your view of Helen Keller, Cuz?
Well, I think it's really inspirational. I think it's really, really inspirational to think that, despite the odds that life is basically thrown at her, she was still able to not just exist, but excel in
Absolutely.
life. Yeah, to excel in life, and to find that she really explored her boundaries and sort of broke them down. It's like there's no boundaries in my life, and then there's us that is able-bodied. Sometimes we cry about the simplest things. I've got this this condition or whatever, and it seems to be something that we seem constrained by in our efforts to excel in life. But there's somebody that has not one, not two, not three disabilities, but was able to excel despite the odds. Like I said. One thing stood out for me though. We're talking about Helen, and when I looked it up and I saw Anne Sullivan, and the role that she played, can you imagine how difficult, how challenging that must have been for her to, to start to explain to somebody that she knows this is not you teaching in a normal environment. It's totally out of the norm. And in those days, they didn't even have. I doubt if they had enough. If they had enough visual aid to to the teaching. So it must have been crude teaching, like you wrote a book. There was no tablets. There was no electronic devices that you could use to say, well, to paint a picture or to draw an illustration to help the student. It was just all, proper classroom. Yeah, I'm lost for words.
Incredible.
It is.
We're going to take a short break now. We're back shortly. You've been listening to the Alien Spaceship Talk Show with Trevor Gear and Emmy Hikins. The Alien Spaceship Talk Show podcast is looking for sponsors. If you're a company out there looking to spread the word about the products and services you provide, please get in touch with Deepstuff Radio Podcast on info@deepstuffrecords.com, or to use the contact form on our website to contact us, please visit radio.deepstuffrecords.com. Also, if you're looking to get involved on the Alien Spaceship Talk Show podcast, reach out via our Deepstuff Radio Facebook page. Thank you.